Well, it's 11 July at 11:40 local time, 4 hours difference. It'll be 3:40. This is the Johnny and Elaine's house, and just it's on F Street. And here's downtown Anchorage. Probably won't take a lot of pictures here. Might take a few shots inside the house and the folks when they show up. Here's some of Johnny's trophies. Of course, Tyler too. I don't know whose or whose. Big bear rug. Here's a couple more
This is your
antlers.
flashlight.
Hang on.
Talk.
And a few more. Saturday market.
That's $500. And that's the price. See that? The regular $19.95, $5.95 shipping.
Yeah, no, I don't know. A couple of years I met with that. Well, we'll be going to Seward when we get on the boat.
Okay.
Yeah, when you get on the boat, you'll take the bus back down.
Yeah.
Oh, so you get.
Hi.
Nice
Because the,
Kelly, right? Yeah.
Hi.
Yes, hi. We got everybody here. Yeah, Lena.
Exit Glacier.
Yep.
pointing us down.
Yeah, I gotta get everybody
The
here.
memory guy.
There's Paul. Yeah, we gotta get everybody in here, yeah. Good, I got the rest of everybody, but I needed to pick up the family here.
Karen?
You want some
Yeah,
cereal,
got Karen,
Leah?
yeah, there's Karen.
Cereal? You want a turkey sandwich? I love this one.
Yeah.
The guy in Juliet last
Peninsula
night.
is
Well, we're on our way to Homer and go down Kenai Peninsula. This is the Turnagain Arm part of it here. We're just going down the highway. Don't know why it didn't auto date. It's supposed to auto date. Anyway, it's Sunday, the 13th. Let's take some interesting shots. There's glaciers up on the mountains. Look like eagles. Yeah. Those are bald eagles, the white tails.
Oh, really?
When we did this stretch, it was fun. We were on a tour. So this was a pretty good. Anytime we were in Anchorage, it was.
Huh? That's the 64 earthquake. It subsided all this sediment you see in the bay. And they had the band.
This water flow is tidal water flow. Tide's coming. Well, I don't know if it's in or out right now. I got to figure out how this body of water works. Lots of cars. It's the only road to anywhere. So this goes all the way to Seward, and then takes a right turn down here at Portage Glacier. Now, last time we were here, there was a big iceberg floating here. This is Portage Glacier, and the glacier was right down into the water. So you can see how things have retreated. Here's the visitor center we'll probably go over to for a few minutes. But the Portage Glacier is this one over here. There's a pass. That's the Portage Glacier. Well, here we are at Kenai, and this is Cook Inlet. I think this is Mount Iliamna there. And I'm going to go slide down here. Another mountain here, I'll zoom in on it a bit. Maybe it'll pop up. It's out of focus. Maybe get the thing to focus. There you go. Now right in front of it is a slope mountain there. And so right about in here would be John's place at Polly Creek. And then in '89, this mountain blew and pushed ash 7 miles in the air. Something like that. And these people down here are not swimming, they're all fishing. I guess they're looking for salmon coming in, aren't they, Jen? Must be. Anyway, well, we're almost in Homer, and this is a lookout spot just a few miles above Homer. Cook Inlet. Assume that's Homer down there. Zoom in. Maybe Homer's back in here. This is the spit thing that sticks out. Okay, we're down on Homer Spit and we're just wandering around. It's really where their waterfront is. And we're just going to walk around and take some pictures, see what's going on.
I poured my beer down his mouth.
Right there,
Those were smaller fish. Talk about the big fish.
You wouldn't dare pour your beer down that fish. You'd probably chase it.
So we need some ice, get our cooler ready.
This is an inner harbor where all the boats are. Wait a minute. Okay. Oh yeah, when they're babies, they stay up straight, and then when they get older, they tip over. Is that what it says?
Not quite.
Well, that migrates from. Here's some more boats on the other side of this pier. They just kind of go on and on. I'm not sure how everybody knows whose boat's whose. But this is where the real fishing is. Interesting little landing craft like. Here's what Scott needs. It's like a little landing craft. Front end opens up. Probably put the Bobcat right on it. Be interesting. Let's see if I can get some more information on it. Bay Weld 28 LC, Homer, Alaska. It looks like they're made here. Yeah? What are you looking for? A handout? You got enough in there. boats as far as you can see. Amazing. This pile of sawdust they must sell for insulating the fish on the ice when they, you know, to keep them from thawing. This is Mount Redoubt. And then I'll zoom along here, which you probably can't see a heck of a lot. And let me see where I am here. Johnny's place is about in there. That's Slope Mountain there. That's Slope, I guess. And that's Iliamna down here. If I can hold it still. And where are we at? Ninilchik. We're at Ninilchik now, and interesting, the tide's out, and these are all people who are clamming out here. So anyway, where we're at Game Farm, Big Game Alaska Wildlife Center, and it's blowing like stink here for some reason. And these are bison. Got some moose here, all laying down on us. That's all right.
Oh, you can see the fence in the background.
That's all right. We know we're in fenced-in areas.
Look at that.
That's a grizzly bear. Fence is trying to focus. Wait a minute. Well, I gotta zoom too much here. I gotta zoom back. These are elk. Nothing exciting. So that's all you have. The wind is really blowing here. It's coming over from Prince William Sound over Portage Glacier Pass. Baby deer. These are musk ox. Let's see when I zoom up what the fence does there. Little baby cub, motherless cub. I find a lot of these on the road. The little deer were that way. No mothers. Okay, we got an owl in here. Fence will play havoc on things. But yeah, he's just sitting over there. There's a baby moose. Can't be more than a few days old, I wouldn't think. Yeah. Well, here we are in Denali State Park, and here's
There it is. See, it's really
McKinley,
it's hard to see today.
but it is very hard to see.
Ruth Glacier. What's this? Oh, gee.
That would be McKinley if you could see it.
Yeah, see, yeah, they look like little sandwiches, the bears. That's funny.
McKinley's Peak would be right there in the clouds.
4 windows there.
We're in Anchorage,
This is
or Fairbanks
getting
right
into
now.
the downtown area. We're going to go around, circle around the downtown, come back and go down in front of the... There's also an Italian restaurant called Gambardellas. And this is also a very fine restaurant. People enjoy eating here. This is about the edge of the business district in Fairbanks. You're going to see some businesses to our left and to the right, but mostly off to the right will be some older log homes and just some log homes. During the pipeline days, 77 through 79, this was quite a wild place down here. And you'll be able to see, here's some of the little gift shops we have around here. Nice little jewelry store. One of the older buildings is off to the right. The big silver building they call the Ice Palace because during the winter it glistens like a big ice cube. The construction...
Okay, we're at the pipeline. It's 48-inch on the inside. And all these things can move. They can allow it to flex.
No, I'm just saying.
And these shiny things on top are actually thermal pumps to keep it cold below so the frost heave won't heave the line. These are the ammonia refrigeration units that pulls the heat up, pushes the cold down, and it does it automatically just with evaporation, and then it condenses back into a liquid and cools the bottom of the pipe to keep it from wrecking the permafrost.
That was pretty easy. So I take my fiddle and I go back
El Dorado gold mine.
Flames about 80 miles away. And they always had posted, no trespassing. How are you going to get in and see these guys? You know, you just can't wait. And platform here, right above our shaft, with a spindle, rope, and bucket, and 2 arms. That's a double windlass, they call it. They let it down to the bedrock. That's where they headed. It's almost ground level in some areas, 180 feet back to the flats here. They go down steps they made, fill the bucket up, come back up, wind it up, arm around your lady, just kind of hug a little bit there, you guys. Keep warm. There you go. That's an order. Okay. A few bones from a 3-toed horse.
Now the bedrock is settled down below here. It forms a distinctive line that sort of goes up this way, goes down over there. Everyone see that line? Here anyway. Now for those of you in the back, the same type of formation should be more easily visible for you in that far face back there. We have lit up for you. As well as perhaps this face over here.
Get a lot of water in there, and you want to jostle it side to side. See that action? This is really good at it. Wash whatever big rocks in the water, and you find the smaller rocks, and you let the water come in.
Well, as I was saying, at the bottom of these shafts here, they have a loaded ore car, like the one I showed you in the tunnel. They go over one of these.
Keep fanning, guys. Up his flakes. There it is, all those gold, yeah. This is our little train. We're still at the mine. And we're heading back down to the bus. Well, we're going on the riverboat here for a few hours. It's a 4-decker. Sprinkling a little bit and we'll see how it goes. Should be fun.
Nearby creek is used to separate the heavier gold concentrates from the dirt as it rushes across the ripples in the bottom of the box. One method of mining has endured from the early days, gold panning.
Don't trip to a last sleep without looking for a little of that magic metal of your own. Right down at the bottom, that's where the gold should be.
Then it's time to stop watching and start doing.
Now I'm going to be introducing some bigwigs to you in just a little bit. My name is Jay Lewis. I'm a newcomer. I've only lived here about 33 years. I've been here 105. But we're going to have a good time anyway. And I'm...
Hey, thank you guys and girls for coming out in the rain, giving us that wave. You know why they do that? They work on that all winter. Whistle, wave.
Whistle. They're not going to miss a chance to do that after all that work. All right, we're going to bring these nice folks back safely in time for dinner here. And thanks again, crew. Now, the thing we picked...
We go alongside it. I'm going to pull just ahead of this little yellow boat plane and turn both sideways so you can all look out. And I'll give you a little heads up before I turn the pilot.
Just to let you know, he's qualified to fly team as a retired F-16 Air Force fighter pilot. I think he still thinks he's an F-16. But watch this, it's pretty thrilling. As he gets this little 1950-ish Piper Super Cub going with a 180 horsepower engine and a Pawnee prop.
Okay, get ready. I'm going to hit him. Get to go. So it happens fast. Be ready. Here we go.
He's already off the ground. Now here comes the climb off. Whoa! I think he missed the imaginary spruce trees. All right, he's going to come around in front of the boat, miles an hour or less, Captain, when he touches down. That's pretty normal. Now he's coming down right over the river. Look at him hang on the prop. You can take his picture all day. Looks like he's just come to a dead stop almost.
He's down to about 38 miles an hour there.
Yeah.
Full flaps.
Now watch carefully. You may be able to see the individual propeller blades too, because he'll cut the fuel to further slow his approach. All he's got to do is miss the picnic table and the burn barrel and a few other things here. No pressure. Look at this touchdown. Oh, is that pretty?
Beautiful.
Oh, boy. And then he'll step on the brake and be able to stop right on the money here. A little window washing, and there's Tim Chris. Let's wave up to him. That was great, Tim. Thank you, sir. Typical corrugated sheet metal was the material of choice to build the old mining buildings. They weren't interested in aesthetics. They just wanted quick shelter because they were here to mine the gold. Now, as you know, we're celebrating Golden Days in town. The next 4 days, a lot of activities connected with Felix Pedro's metal roof on it. Up and down, 2-story. Nice and warm with those logs in the winter, nice and dry on a rainy day. They're everything that you have in your house. Nothing primitive about that place. They don't have an outhouse out back. They don't put their meat down in a permafrost hole to freeze it like the old timers had to. We've got it really pretty easy today. That's why we respect our elders in this part of the world, because they had it tough. And just as the house was completed, their phone rang, and it was none other than Ronald Reagan of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And President Reagan said, "Frank, I'm coming to Fairbanks to meet the Pope, because he's flying over the pole from the Vatican to Korea." "Well, sure, Mr. President, you can have our brown house. We haven't lived in it yet. And we'll just stay in the house next door." So that's what happened. President and Mrs. Reagan lived in that brown house on the Chena River for 4 days. Secret Service camped out about 5 deep all the way around. White spruce logs in it. That's native lumber. Grew within maybe 30 miles of where you see it there. Do these hold up though? What happens when they get wet or when they get cold? Well, the house next door has over a mile of logs in it, and that one's been here for 45 years. And the sign on the lawn, I learned. Now you see the girls are in front of the windows today, but in the winter they'd be behind them, waving at the snow machiners and the dog teams, and yet be nice and warm in there. Those are triple pane all-weather windows. Now why do we need big windows? Well, you know, it gets kind of dark up here in December. Good time to be working dawn to dusk, because this will be most interesting. So I'm very pleased to be able to introduce you to one of the co-founders of Thoroughbred Kennel, and our good friend Dave Munson, 5-time Iditarod veteran. Hi, David.
Well, good afternoon, and wonderful to see all of you. Welcome on this, to us, a beautiful Alaskan afternoon, because we get to be out socializing with some of the youngest members of our kennel, and as well as taking some of the middle-aged ones and some of the older ones out, because it's wonderful to get out and work with the dogs, especially after a morning trip to our house. We have whelping pens over there, so that we can look right out the window and see what's going on. And as soon as it's evident to us that the mothers about to have pups, we go and check on them regularly. Of course,
this is Susan Butcher's Iditarod with
start the bonding process on their own, but we want to pick up each puppy and make sure that they're okay. And when we hold them gently to go faster, we actually use it to slow the dogs down, because much like when I'm going to stop for a second, because we're going to watch it tick off.
Now she's actually going to start the motor, but leave the compression, so there'll be a little drag on the thing. Now watch it dig. He has 8 dogs, but they are really digging in. Now let's watch this left turn. Oh, that was nice. Dandy. you doing speed-wise, Dave?
Well, I bet you they're doing close to 20 miles an hour back there. You can see those leaders have really got them stretched out there. And Beth is standing way up because the mud is flying off their feet. It's just coming back all
Come now.
And you'll see them coming by, and what we're hoping to do is to have one of the dogs, we'll have the dogs come right in here through the gate.
All right, now she's just talking to them, and look at this, they hit the gate just about dead center. Oh, boy. All right, come on home. Stop on the dime. All right, that's beautiful. All 8 of them. The difference is domesticity. The females, in both cases, will lose their antlers once a year, just like the males. Pretty much the antlers are covered in velvet right now. And of course the males will scrape that velvet off during their wear out the team. So dried salmon fills the bill, and it does today too. So a lot of our native families will leave their cities if they live in Anchorage or Fairbanks and still go back to fish. The salmon is enclosed in it, and gravity drops them down into an angular wooden trough that's in the bottom of the basket, and then they wiggle their way into the catching box on the side. Now our catching box has no front on it. We're not catching any salmon here. That's why our wheel's allowed to turn. Because today is not a fishing day. So if our wheel were capable of retaining salmon, it would be locked down. Because you can only run your wheels at certain hours on certain days.
Pleased to be able to share just a little bit about Fish Camp life with you. This camp here in the Tanana River is very similar to the camp I grew up on. My family still fishes at the same spot today. Our camp is located about 40 miles above the village of Fort Yukon. Very similar to this, although I think our camp up there is just a little bit bigger than this, and that's because I have 6 brothers, 6 sisters, grandparents, and lots of cousins that always visit us in Fish Camp. So we have a lot more canvas walking, that much at all. Very light. This is really important when my dad goes on a long chop line trip. The weight of a sled is important.
Well, of course, you guys caught salmon for you to eat during the winter, too. And did you smoke it the same way, or is there another wood you like?
Do any of that? Or we just smoke it with cottonwood or spruce. They're not too picky.
Grateful, not picky, that's for sure. Dixie, thank you very much for this beautiful work that she does, and she'll answer any questions.
I brought here that I always like to point out too is this sled. Now this sled is a duplicate of the sleds that were used in 1925 to bring diphtheria.
Oh, that's a good question. What's it cost a year to feed a dog? Well, I'm going to throw in veterinary care and other things like that. Basically, take care of them. We figure it costs us about $2 a dog a day. And what that includes is, of course, their food. We feed them, premium grade. We feed about 8.
Smoking salmon here.
Here somewhere.
Look at it, you're waiting for the
I know. I also waxed it after I did the
See anything, Liza? Now
The lens is dry.
There's a reindeer.
Okay, we're on the train. Here's our group here.
Yeah, when they talked about a wildlife video, I expected a
That kind of wildlife, huh?
Now, we saw one of the wildlife places yesterday, but the bus driver didn't stop.
Nice. Oh, yes. And then in summertime,
kind of amazing.
I am stoked.
It's going around the bend here. Here, better hurry up.
No, take it down.
This thing right here.
Oh, you could have had those boats. Oh, no, get it back.
And the railroad tracks actually used to go right near the clear sites, but we sent out ghost signals, so they redirected the tracks 2 miles out this way, and instead of re-mileposting each milepost from here to Fairbanks, they just added milepost 350 or 394A and 394B.
Oh yeah, I'll come in. Okay. I don't know what they're like. No, wait a minute. I need to be very quiet. They're all coming up.
Yeah, let's try.
Who is it? Look at
Again, it's a glacially fed river. That's why it's silty. It's not dirty. I promise you, there aren't dirty rivers in Alaska yet. And I promise you, that snow was not there 2 days ago. So this is kind of cool. Kind of not.
Snow was not there.
It's definitely not warm.
Early winter.
And those that are taking the whitewater rafting.
Everybody to the 9 o'clock side. There you go.
here tomorrow. Cool.
There you go.
I don't think so.
This is the float trip.
Hurry up so I can get one. Shirley, are you doing this?
Okay, so you can kind of see the where it says Alaska on the Alaska Railroad engine. Right in front of that is a 4-digit number, and that shows. You notice the Alaska Railroad cars are much shorter than our cars. This is because the tunnels between Seward and Anchorage are much shorter. It makes a big arc through the interior of Alaska.
There it is.
So does everybody know how high Mount McKinley?
McKinley is back here. Oh.
That's all we know. You're right.
Try to get the focus right.
I thought you were at first. Look at somebody.
This is the Alaska Range, actually.
Hold his back, chest out, stomach in.
Oh, he runs too much. Did you want to look for these? Or is it the same as looking through your camera?
The snow is, most of it is all came last night.
Do they have
No coffee. If I'd known that, I'd grab the one down at Fairbanks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where are you looking? Oh, man. It's amazing. I saw this. Oh, I saw it with my bare eyes. See where there's some brown stuff and then it goes over?
Well, the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
This thing will go 26 power. The Zoom did 26 power, but you got to sit on top of something. Gotta be right in there someplace.
Right, it's not a bear. No, it is. These are huge. I've never seen one before.
It's a porcupine.
Now this is the village of Denali. Of course, they're doing a lot of road construction always. Right in front of the village of Denali is one of the biggest tear-ups there. These buildings over here is the main street, primarily catering to tourists. Side dumping trucks. Move a lot of dirt. Let's remember, this is the only highway north and south in Alaska, from Anchorage to Fairbanks. So everything comes through here, and of course they build all summer on roads, so it gets pretty complex.
The Dawn it's a nicer class ship. Oh, sometimes she's in and sometimes she's out on the cruise ships. No, Lake's frozen over. Far as we go usually is the McKinley Lodge, and on special occasions I usually bring pretty cool, huh?
McKinley right there.
They're getting Get out, good. Thank you. Oh, God, I didn't think
Stand over here.
No, I went out. Yeah. Make sure they're out.
Miles away from it. The Chalette and Susitna rivers are joining together there in front of us. And then we've got Mount Foraker, Mount Hunter, and Mount McKinley.
Jeez, wow. What a clear day.
Days like today, when it's clear, sometimes you can
K2 Aviation. I could wait until I got closer to the sign, I guess. See if it'll focus. There it goes. K2 Aviation. Our great adventure here for a flight. Well, here comes Tom. Here comes Tom. You guys are there.
put a snowball on the glacier.
Oh, you did? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh wait, I have to give him my...
Watch him take off. Watch him take off.
Yeah, we've landed on McKinley.
I know it. Oh, thank you. And really, I didn't mind those rainy days. I mean, really, they were...
Actually,
okay.
for what we were doing, everything
fine.
still could be done.
Yeah.
I never come to see Don't drop
I have...
She was going to try to save it to take it.
You don't know where they're going to go, and airplanes don't have brakes when they're on skis. And you make a big mess on the glacier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we changed the color of the glacier.
Life I never dreamed I would do, and I can't believe I'm doing it.
Yep.
This is something really special. We went to Rome to be in St. Peter's Cathedral on the 16th
be pretty close. This is the plane we just came back on. Taxiing out, getting ready to take the next load of people out on a fantastic trip.
There goes our airplane.
Yeah, there it goes. Heading out with the next group. Go off on a spectacular flight.
Okay, we're in Talkeetna. Alright, this is John Campbell and Nola Campbell. Unless I screwed up here already. That's Nola. And that's John. Yep. This is the main drag in Talkeetna. Talkeetna. I always say it wrong. Talkeetna. Well, 20th of July Sunday, and we just thought this is the Princess Wilderness Lodge. Denali State Park. The other was the National Park. Quite a place. We stayed in this. There's a bunch of these 10-room places. They're very nice, quite adequate. And today we're heading off bus to Talkeetna and then the train into Anchorage.
And then they had 30 or 40 foot tsunami style waves that would come into the town about every half hour for about a day. And so
In Seward, and they're about ready to cast off. There goes a couple of lines right there. We wondered how they hooked them up. I'm going the wrong way here. We'll watch the tug go down to the next one. Well, they got the thrusters, side usually bow thrusters. I guess they got stern thrusters. They got it going to hold the stern against the wind since they took the lines off. This pipe going out here actually is a conveyor, and it's where they delivered coal, and I think it went to South Korea, and that contract's over or something, so it's sitting idle. Don't know much about it, but it's high, which is nice.
It's pretty high.
Yeah, we've been kicking around here for a couple of weeks in Homer, and then we went up to Fairbanks, and we always at low tide every place we went.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've been here for a week, and I tell you, I'm amazed at Anchorage how silty it is.
Oh.
It's just like, when
Well, we're off just about 10 o'clock.
this must be a ferry going over there.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Most places there's like a lot of places there's a little area pretty wider than this. There's a dump up here, a dip here,
And then we got the bow thrusters going now. Kicking the bow around, and then we're moving forward. Stirs up a lot of bottom. Seagulls love it. Must stir up a lot of little things for them to eat. Well, here we're leaving Seward and heading off into fog. Of course, I really don't need to look out. So windy, it's kind of hard to hold the camera still. .10:30, close to it, and not many people up on deck. A lot of wind, not just from our motion either. Quite a ship.
Here we are again, those of you just joining us. On the right starboard side, we are looking at what we call Harvard Glacier, a name for one of the colleges back east. And it's roughly 150,000 acres that it covers. It's about 1.5 miles across and just about 300 feet in height. Just on the ice. Those are harbor seals.
There's a ship going right in the ice. There's seals out there on the ice. We're kind of waiting to see if it'll calve off here.
Down here.
Oh, those little blackbacks are supposed to be seals laying out there on the ice.
Oh, there goes some more.
There's some more falls.
Okay, there we have some nice caddy. In that dark area again, about to see one.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, yeah.
The right starboard side here. You're facing harbor. Okay, there will be some more later.
Which what?
Which name? The names of
Well, she's been telling you here. This is Harvard. She's Harvard Glacier. Harvard.
1:30, 2 o'clock. Keep watching that area. It's trickling, it's trickling. Might loosen up. Here we go.
Here comes some more from a little higher.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Boom.
It's a nice hike on that one.
You like it with the binoculars?
Cascading down. And just to recap, those of you who were with us earlier, that ice is blooming because it is so dense. All those air bubbles are taken out. It's very compressed ice. So to our eyes,
How they stay away?
Yeah, that would sink. 62.5 is what water is. You know, fresh water. Bruce.
Nasty this morning.
You want to go for a swim?
I know.
I know.
do we call this cabin?
You would think somebody was blasting it.
Base of the glacier. This falls off, we call it cabin.
I'm waiting for this, the bluish part here.
Cascading.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Night. Starboard side about 1:30, 2 o'clock. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that.
Now
It's
look
just
at the
cascading down.
This is
Look lovely. Huge
piece.
Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that. Oh,
Oh
excellent.
my God.
Excellent.
I've taken a couple.
Lovely.
Still coming.
Yes, it
Very
is.
nice.
Still coming.
Boom.
Rich, you got that, didn't you?
Yep.
Oh, good.
It's still falling. There's just specifically
There's some
principally
seals right in this middle one. Yeah. In the, oh, you big chunk.
That's big.
Fantastic cabin this morning. Just great. It's 1.5 miles across, about 300 feet in height, and it covers roughly 150,000 acres. And again, you'll see these little brown sausages over here about 1 o'clock, sitting on the ice. Those are harbor seals. If you look out toward that boat that you're seeing
There you go.
come to the left of that.
I want some hash.
So they pop off like that. Oh, there we have another nice cabin. Beautiful.
Right in front.
Oh, I see it, yeah. So again, we'll be leaving in about 5 minutes. But this has been spectacular. Captain has done well for us this morning. And again, we're only about a mile from the glacier, which is great.
Great with the binoculars.
Battery's just about had it. I got another one with me. There it goes. Oh, that's a nice one, yeah. Oh, I got that good. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Lovely cabin.
The battery holds up. Look at ways.
Oh, a big one to the left of that. Whee! Kaboom!
Oh, there it is coming down now. Look at that.
Oh, big, big.
The tsunami will take the little boat and flip it over.
Done very well. And the captain tells me we're actually 0.8 miles from the glacier, closest we've ever been. So this is great.
Tip the captain.
This morning, beautiful blue ice. And then again, For those of you just joining me, that is due to that compressed ice. All those air bubbles are out of that ice. Has the air compressed out of it, if you will. Just beautiful.
Yeah, right. I didn't call it. I didn't ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one BJ's had a bunch of $12 big chunks off of it.
What's that black?
Notice the waterfall coming down out of the mountain, like right of the glacier there.
Oh, yeah. Left of the glacier?
Left the glacier, right left.
As bad as I am.
I was gonna say,
Left a point.
I've been listening to you too much.
The other left.
No, I guess this is the Smith Glacier.
Well, that might help.
It's right back all the way up into here.
Harvard, Smith.
Bryn Mawr?
Yes,
Oh,
we're right here, I think, isn't it?
Yep,
Falls
that's where
right
I'm
here?
looking. Yep, right beyond the black.
Yep.
This is the Bryn Mawr. Bryn Mawr, as in Bryn Mawr College.
Well, let's go up 3/4 of the way up. You can see it running really heavy. See where it's falling off, right at the very top.
Wow. We are right next to that one. Look at the colors on that one.
Oh yeah, here? Yeah, they really popped out. The color. The color, she's looking at the color.
All the way up that one's blue.
Turquoise. Now these glaciers have receded. So they're no longer, what kind of glacier, Jen?
Tidewater.
Tidewater glacier. Except it is at that corner over here. This is the cafeteria style or buffet style eating. Open 24 hours a day. These are the swimming pools and hot tubs. Not sure what he's serving here. Let's take a look. Well, we're sort of going south, leaving Prince William Sound, and we'll go into the Gulf of Alaska. Not bad, but it's not that good of weather. Islands out here all over the place. And the satellite systems here. And the radar's going around. Well, it's Wednesday, the 23rd, and we're just entering Glacier Bay. We've picked up our pilots and we'll pick up. This is actually a national park, which limits the number of boats that can come in, and they have tour national parks rangers who come aboard, give lectures and things. This is the port side. It will be a while before we get to the glacier. I think around noon, but we'll see how things go.
Right starboard side, close to the shore, about 1:30.
That, but I can't get this. Zoom out. No, we ain't. Turn it on and start recording. I just can't tell what I'm getting and what I'm not. I can't see that. I don't know how to figure it out.
Well, we've been whale watching, and we've seen some spouts, but haven't had a chance to video them. And we're just coming up in Glacier Bay here. We haven't picked up the guide, so I guess we're not into the park yet.
How that glacier water is kind of a muddy looking, excuse me. Oh, that again is that very fine dirt in a glacier. We call it silt. It makes that water look kind of brownish. And of course, when the ship goes through that water, especially, it churns it up. Especially so when we get buried to the left here, starting our way into Glacier Bay.
Oh yeah, there he is. The dividing line between the glacier water and sounds like a helicopter. Where is it? There we go. Pretty wave.
Pretty view with the helicopter flying past.
Whale was right out there, right under those birds. He just came up.
Little whales out there?
Uh-huh. There he goes.
There it is. They were going to do that.
And so we missed them again.
Yeah, when you're concentrating on something else.
Well.
Drinks, drinks.
Just where that streak of light goes out is just to the right of it.
Now there is another whale out toward, really straight out from the ship toward the Ranger boat. You might watch for that as well. Another whale out there.
And we're starting to get to the glaciers. We'll get up there in a little while. Well, we're progressing into Glacier Bay, and these aren't the ones we're stopping at. I'm zooming too tight here. Looks like we're heading up here. windy.
We also have a copy of the map set up at our information desk in the Horizon Court. We've drawn out our route for the day, a little arrow indicating our current location. Up there is Ranger Laura, ready to answer your questions. And also Peg Redford is there. She's here with the Alaskan.
Yep, tidal glacier. Well, we've said that before. Yeah, it's way up there. There's some 14,000 feet in here. Probably says these are kind of hanging glaciers.
When we look out and see glaciers like the Reed Glacier, and knowing from the historic record that they've retreated so far in such a short period of time, it does make us wonder why. How did this retreat really happen? Well, I'll try to explain it. When glaciers advance and flow down the valleys, they tend to push in front of them a great deal of rock and debris that gets accumulated right at the front of the glacier. We call that a terminal moraine. And in the case of tidewater glaciers, it's often the case that this terminal moraine works as an insulator or a protective barrier between the ice and the water of the ocean. See, the water of the ocean is about 20 degrees warmer than the ice, and so if the ice comes in direct contact with it, it really wants to melt it. So this terminal moraine is important in protecting the ice from that warming water, the melting of the ocean. It fell off into deeper water, and the currents coming in and out of there washed all those rocks and exposed the glacier's face. Right around that same time, this would have been about the year 1750, temperatures around the planet started to rise. It started getting warmer everywhere. And those two events, happening roughly at the same time, really worked together to create this most dramatic retreat of some 65 miles in just the last 2 centuries.
Zoom in a little bit here. This is an interesting face on this mountain here. Probably is left over from when there was a glacier there, and it's not there anymore.
Well, I can mention that I wouldn't do it in a plane.
And I was going to zoom in on the shoreline and walk along the shoreline, and we'll see him later. Is he right on the shoreline?
I don't see him. Is he on the shoreline?
I don't know.
We have a rock slide down here.
Oh, is he down that far?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'll look at it later. But
Somewhat shallow in here, but we'll get as close as we can. Have a look. You have binoculars. Definitely want to use those. And it's almost straight ahead, but a little bit off to the right. Right where the water ends and the gravel begins. Enjoy.
in the water there? Yeah, that's the brown bear right there walking along.
Yeah, he does look like a raccoon.
Oh, you think? I never found that right at the water.
We're a long ways up as well.
Well, this guy's got it in close, doesn't he?
Thank you.
You know, I mean, it seems like, oh, it gets all off the ship. There you go. I got wet before that was big. Brian.
Are you sure? But nevertheless, a truly wild creature and a really great experience to be able to see one in its natural habitat. That bear, hard to say what it was doing, but usually bears this time of year are looking for food wherever they can find it. Salmon are coming in. I'm not sure if there's salmon spawning.
This is the Grand Pacific Glacier with its dark brown till in front. And then this one over here is the Marjorie Glacier, the white one here. Don't know what's behind this guy, but the mountain must be tall. See the glacier way up in there. Back to the Grand Pacific Glacier. Yeah, he's just sitting.
Yes. Not sure how comfortable it will be with us here. Sometimes they stay out. Sometimes they dive off into the water. Let the seals haul out on the ice.
Apron is now the cleanest part of that glacier.
See where the boat is. Yeah, it was right over the
right
boat.
behind the boat.
Cabin right there, but not now.
That's great.
See, young man? There was some interesting calving off of the face of Marjorie Glacier. We'll get a little closer to this. We're a little over a mile off right now. We hope to be about a quarter mile off. So we're approaching. And as we continue to do that, we'll have this.
To the left.
Great to be out and not just see the glaciers and the birds, but to be able to listen to them as well, because some of the sounds that are made out here are just almost right in front of us there. So I encourage you to keep an eye on it. Don't turn your back on it, because it happens rather quickly. And then the sound will follow. Just spoken with the captain, who tells me we're tufted puffins. They have the bright orange bill. As we get closer, if you have binoculars, you'll be able to pick that up. Quite a good viewing for them today, really.
Just to the left of the boat. Just like, you know, like I said, level 1.
Another one. Oh, it's a good day. It's a good day.
I don't want to get on your way.
No, it's okay. Come on, slide in here. You're shorter than I am. You're sure.
Flying now.
See right there, almost where the sun's shining on.
That's when we started.
Yeah, right.
I was saying, I don't think I think we're closer to this one than
Oh,
we were
oh,
to
I'm
the
sorry. I only
Harvard.
heard the
Yeah,
Harvard. No, you're
yeah.
right. I agree with you. Oh, my.
Just fall out of it.
Oh, I see.
He said it was a couple of miles. So probably go back up the road. Yeah. That's what it is.
I'm just letting it run. Got into nothing problem with it. Just about out of battery.
But we have our own stairs. Miles deep, so yeah. Look over your shoulder. Yeah.
Got a couple of minutes of nothing here, but it's pretty. Still pretty.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Right there,
right,
face
way on the right.
of the eye.
Where it's dark brown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at it coming out. Well, it certainly is, isn't it? That's that glacial river. Interesting.
Yeah, see the water.
There it goes again. Yeah.
Jimmy Slade.
I may use it in a while, but.
Caught that one.
Huh?
I caught that one.
Did you? Oh, yeah.
Right.
It is, isn't it? Get to know everybody. At least I get to picture.
That's okay, because we get to see it coming in. It's beautiful.
So I wonder how old the snow is that's flaking off.
And what does it move? Like a foot a day they're talking about? Some of them move more than that.
Well, I guess they used to say when you're doing that, you don't ever buy film for it. Let's see if it works.
Well, we're turning around, moving the stern to the port and the bow to starboard. Makes sense. Maybe something will calve.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
At least the color of the water.
They'd have all this kind of stuff there.
Just do a big one.
Oh, yeah, my camera retracted just to, you know, and then by the time I had it open, it was already, I just got the end part of it.
This is sort of like waiting for a slot machine to pay off, right? You're sitting.
Can't see. The sun's shining right at us now.
Zoom in and see how much of this is underwater.
You know what? It's so nice and warm. Then you look down and you see the ice in the water and you think, ready. Did you see the puffins? I miss them too.
I don't know why I'm recording. Well, we're leaving this bay. May stop at another glacier if we got enough time. Little activity here on the deck. It's pretty warm. People swimming. It's hang on. It's about 3:30. Pan around here. Here's one of the bars. People drinking fuzzy drinks. And this is Mount Cooper. Another big glacier. Glacier, I guess. Have to look it up. Anyway, we'll see it later. Windy up here. Can't hold the camera still. Amazing how deep these are. This is the Johns Hopkins, from Johns Hopkins University inlet. I guess the glacier is around the corner. I don't think this is it. But these are fantastic. Look at all that ice up there.
Cruise ships aren't allowed to go past that line until September 1st. And the reason for that is the fact that we have quite a few harbor seals that are pupping up in there. They have their pups right out on icebergs. They really like to be able to get out on that ice. They have their pups and then they wean them for several weeks, and then they go through a period where they're molting their fur. So the harbor seals have a rough time of it for a few months here in the summer, and so we recognize the fact that that habitat is really sensitive, and research is constantly being done, but some questions remain unanswered. Nevertheless, we now have an outstanding view, again off the port or left side, of the Johns Hopkins Glacier and the two tall 10,000-foot peaks off in the distance.
Seals swimming right there, pretty sure. Not seals, but otter laying on its back right there. Seals up ahead. Wish I had steady cam on here.
So we'll be here at the Johns Hopkins Glacier for just a few more minutes if you're on the port side of the vessel. And so we'll have a little bit more time to check it out, the captain tells me. So again, if you're on the port side, you may want to direct your attention to the starboard side, although there's really a good view no matter which direction you look. Again, looking towards that Johns Hopkins Glacier, we are off a distance of just over 5 miles. The landscape is so vast, it's often deceptive, and with no thing out there that's
stay up here, you can. Which is what I just put down. Don't tell where it popped in though. It's hard telling.
Yeah, we're headed back out now, out of the park. Be a while. It'll be 10 o'clock until we're out of here. Something like that. Anyway, that's very pretty. This is in the atrium. It's 3 floors. It's got boutiques. A little bit of everything in it. Yeah, it's still the 24th of July, I guess. Anyway, I thought it was the 23rd. Anyway, the sun is setting. I may have the time set on the camera wrong. Yeah, my timer's set wrong on the camera, so this is really still the 23rd. Gotta watch the sunset here. I don't know if I can zoom in on it and have it focus on anything. This is the end of the day. This is still the end of the 23rd. Yep, there it goes. Tomorrow it'll be the 24th. We'll have to announce that. The camera was still left on Rome time. So it was off by 4 hours. Okay, good night all. Well, it's the Thursday morning, the 24th. Even though the camera said that I'm trying to take a picture of the ship, and it's pretty hard to get a picture of this whole ship. So that's it. Saw this little plaque here. Captain Don Robbie. Oh, darn. 1978 to 1986. Yeah, we're in Skagway. I bet it won't focus on it. White Pass route. Anyway, we're entering downtown Skagway. This is the Rainier. It's like a museum. Yeah, this is the main street. So there is one. There are two streets, but this is. Trained snowblower for the tracks. This is not our ship, but this is the pass that they come up through right there. Very narrow pass they come in. We'll have to watch them take off later today.
Frank? Yeah, Barbara's going to tell Bill about this. The one that's dead.
We're going to give a test on this one, though.
The one that's dead, he was a great railroad guy. Yeah. There it is. There it is, right there.
Oh, look at the cemetery.
Old Bush Cemetery.
People dead in that cemetery there? You know how many people are dead in that cemetery? All of them. Oh, they touched that.
Here's the bridge.
Yeah, because they're way up there and we're here.
That's the way we're going to do it. Pardon me.
That's all right. Doing fine. Do you want to sit down?
Towns in southeast Alaska to have road access. The other two towns are Haines and Hyder.
But you were scared of that.
She is.
Yeah, but that's. Highway that parallels.
Well, in a moment you want to start looking down to the left and you'll see the remains of the Brackett Tow Road. George Brackett and his sons were among the first to build a road through here. They charged $1 for hikers and $10 per horse and wagon. Well, at one point Brackett was making about $1,000 a day in tolls. But of course those packers who once used this road for free weren't very pleased with Brackett's attempt to charge them, so they tore down his gates, refusing to pay. Well, eventually White Pass did buy this road from Brackett for a large sum of $60,000, and they used it for a supply route for the construction of the railroad.
Oh boy.
What? Why is... Right there? Yeah. Swirling.
This was painted back in the 1920s by young boys and girls on an adventure trip up here to Skagway. Part of an 8,000-mile journey that happened every year for about 20 years. Now sponsored by Rich Colbert from Michigan.
This is the U.S.
And we have actually had a few of those original Buchanan boys and girls come back to ride the train again, but they're now in their 70s and 80s.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that is it.
The waterfalls out.
Highline section, we're lucky we can see one of those summer trains heading up.
Oh yeah, there's a train.
This highline section, so again you can see our green and yellow diesel electric engines and the red top front of the cars there heading up the highline section. Such like great views again, those very dark vehicles on the left side.
That's what she said. That's what she said. Make it a hard turn. Yeah. Try to hydrate. Oh, they go.
There's the train up there. There's the train up.
Looks like this.
No, but it's actually pretty deceiving. It is the longest and deepest fjord in North America. And for those of you who don't know what a fjord is, I'll tell you it's not a Chevy. Second tunnel of the day. And this tunnel is 700 feet long. It's about 3 times out of the first. And again, it will be very dark inside.
They look like a breakfast
By looking at that trail. You'll see a sign that says Trail of 98. This is the third name we've heard for the White Pass Trail. First name, it was the White Pass Trail. Dead Horse Gulch, and we also, Trail of Dead Horses, and the Trail of 98. So looking down at that trail, you can only imagine thousands to get through the Canadian border. They have to check through first with the Canadian Mounties that were posted up here.
Trail of 98.
Trail there?
Yep.
And there was old shovel
Off your left here in Summit Lake.
Now we're in the Red Onion. Having a beer as usual. Kind of interesting. A little more of our ship. Thought I'd throw it in here. This is the bridge where they operate the ship from. But it's a lot of layers. It's 14 stories high. There's another ship behind ours. Well, it's 25th Friday, and we are in Juneau. There's our ship, and I'm just standing on the dock at the harbor. So we'll just kind of pan around here. Pretty cloudy. I don't know if I'm going to take this camera on our glacier float trip or not. We'll see. Here comes a catamaran out to do something. Anyway, this is Juneau. We'll go downtown, but just wanted to get a quick picture. Do a 180 here, 360 Ginny's right there. And a lot of little gift shops and things. And downtown there'll be other couple of sightseeing beavers here. Interesting, the door's open on the bow for the anchor. They're not using the anchor. I don't know what it's open for. Anyway, there you are. Okay, we're at the Alaska State Capitol. It says Alaska State Capitol. Here in Juneau, despite the fact there are no roads into Juneau, the Capitol is here. And I guess that's it. There are a lot of cars, despite the fact that the cars had to be voted in. So it's interesting. Well, it's the 26th and we're in Ketchikan. Our last stop before Vancouver. And it's a tremendous, it's a real working port, of course. They all are. Backing is out with his single screw probably, which is interesting. Fishing boats all over the place. As they say, the ships are bigger than the whole town. So. Jenny Robbie.
Careful.
Probably a Holland American ship.
Because it's way easier to say. Rufella is the 5th largest island in the chain of 1,200 here in southeast Alaska. About 240 square miles, 40 by 60 miles. It's true, Ketchikan is on an island. We don't have any bridges connecting us to the mainland. The next important date in Ketchikan's history is 1885, when Mike Martin and some friends came up from Northern California, bought some land from a prominent native in the area, and set up the first salmon cannery here. Mike Martin and his friends were the first non-native settlers in the 50s. It's a place where fishermen, loggers, miners, and gentlemen or not-so-gentlemen will want to get together. They could tell fish stories, gossip, play a game of cards, have a drink of alcohol, even during times of prohibition, and if they wanted to, patronize the ladies of the line. Of course, until 1951, when the territory made prostitution illegal. In 1952, the Coast Guard based south of town was concerned that that rule wasn't being followed. They did an investigation along with the Bureau of Health Research and found that venereal disease was rampant in the area and prostitution was indeed going on. So the ladies left the line with a bad reputation, but they were back by the next year because in 1954, a public-minded 2 hours usually takes 3 and sometimes 4, so there's many entertaining stories of hotly contested games with both teams struggling to finish the game before the onrushing tide did it for them. We don't call games on account of rain here. We're not that optimistic, expecting another sunny day. July is our second sunniest month. We have had 7 days without rain so far this month. Today is not going to count because it is sprinkling. We've had just a bit over half of our rainfall we're expecting. It's going strong in the middle of the summertime, like right now. We're at peak salmon harvest season, and we're also at peak cruise ship season. Those are our two main industries in town. If you just can't stand the hustle and bustle of big city life, and you don't like rush hour traffic, you can move across the water to Pennock Island, which is off our port side now. Pennock is home to about 300 residents of Ketchikan. It's entirely residential. There are no roads on the island, and there are no bridges connecting it to Ketchikan, so everybody over here is kind of secluded, and they have a lot of people go without. And, ooh, hey, that bald eagle, folks, took too many salmon because that is their favorite food. So there was a bounty on them between 1917 and 1959.
Here's the bald eagle.
Historical point I like to point out is my favorite in town, the house I grew up in. If you look there right above the floodplains, there's a red house with white trim and a blue house with white trim. If you look to the right of those and a little bit below, there's a white house with blue trim, and that's 636 Water Street. I lived there my first 8.5 years before we moved north of town. All these aircraft you see at the dock are floatplanes. They're called floatplanes because they land and take off on little floats. Guarantee territory officials you're going to take care of her if you brought her up here. So men weren't bringing women at all. They were just bringing alcohol instead and setting up lots of bars. So in 1899, missionaries said for every bar in town you must have a church, and that's why we have 57 church. Concrete with an aluminum shell would be a little bit more longer lasting, but since these wood pilings tend to last about 80 years, why waste the money? Town's all built on stilts except a few places. Actually, our main thoroughfare through town, Tongass Avenue, is built right over the water mostly, because we don't like working with the land. They get a lot of salmon up there, and they love to see us visit, because otherwise the 4 active canneries, and actually we're so busy that we had a little cannery boat in town, and it might still be here. It just got here yesterday. Anything else in town since then. They were built in 1954, which was really Ketchikan's most landmark year of the last 100, probably. Which, besides getting a facelift on Creek Street and an entirely new city management, we got these 2 tallest buildings in town finished because in 1954, the pulp mill opened. The Ketchikan pulp mill sold hemlock pulp all around the world from 1954 until 1999, and when it opened, it brought 2,500 new jobs to town. People behind them said, wait, where did the water go, and then where did their property value go as well? So they petitioned, and now the city council has put a law on the books. There's a city ordinance that says you may not build any more than 4 stories high.
Still
You probably have a good amount of experience. Fly for Delta? I bet you did. Vernon is one of our 3 commercial. We haven't had a football team in 4 years that wants to play on our gravel and dirt football field. Actually, we haven't won a game in 24 years. But our basketball team's really good. They have to take the 18-hour ferry ride to Juneau twice a year, which means they save up a lot of money. Also, wire phone line. They recently added DSL cable, so if you want, you can have cable internet. Living in Bar Harbor is a great way to go. Mortgage is not too expensive, and compared to rates on land, it's just about free. Mortgage is $1.18 per foot length of boat per month, so A vessel this length costs around $800 a year. That's a heck of a lot cheaper than living on land. We do have 1,003 slips, so on June 3rd actually. It was high tide, so that's a big embarrassment for the captain. He said to his first mate, steer right, when he meant to say steer left, and they hit a rock. Well, only a little bit, and only with the bulbous bow. Didn't do a ton of damage to the vessel. Just.
Well, this is the last day of our cruise, and we're heading down to Vancouver. It'll be an all-day trip and get in tomorrow morning. So I just thought I'd finish up this tape up here. It says 2 hours and 7 seconds of taping right now. So we'll let it run for a while. It's been a good trip. I may start another tape up for Vancouver, but this will be primarily the trip. There's another ship. I guess I don't know if he's coming up. Or we just passed him. Well, anyway. Ship coming up here. Focus, there you go. Guess he's catching up to us. That could be very far away. So anyway. Well, goodbye for now, and I may run this tape out, but it's been a good trip so far. Got 2 days in Vancouver and then back home. The lighthouse. Ship shakes a bit. This is supposed to be the world's tallest totem pole. We're looking for orca whales.
Railings are kind of high.
There's a whole bunch. Oh, there's a couple.
Looking for orcas. There you go. Bunch of them right out there. And there's one right there.
We'll see you.
So you have to be patient.
And how's he gonna find me? He'll never find us.
Gotta be right there.
The show that was quite magnificent. It's the first time we've had a large pod of orcas as large as that this season. Quite a beautiful afternoon, and we now have to start increasing our speed again to make our way down towards Seabourn Narrows. It is a beautiful part of the world, so enjoy the rest of the afternoon and the viewing as we cruise down the Johnstone Strait. Thank you.
Right here now.
This ship behind us, we just passed it. It's a floating apartment complex. People actually bought for $1 million each lodging on it. There's a little more of that ship back there over the rail here. Got very few lifeboats on it, so you can see it only has a few hundred apartments on it. Well, this is the inland passageway. Quite narrow, half a mile maybe wide through here. I got it zoomed in too much. I'm stupid. Anyway. Quite narrow. Very pretty. This is the other side of the ship, so you can see how wide it isn't. Yeah, half a mile at the best. And up here, we'll wait until we get a little closer, but they've been clear cutting strips, and then they leave the next one. There's a big logging barge we just passed. There's a case of clear cutting up here that's fairly recent. I'll zoom in some more. Here. But they leave a patch around it. Why they decided to do this strip, it's hard to say, except the trees may be prime. And then in a few years it'll fill in and they'll do another strip. So that's the game. Again, we're doing about 20 knots and we're 2,400 nautical miles from home. GPS says we're, forget it to focus, it's too close. Tracking 170, 180 now, 20.6 knots. Let's see, why isn't it focused right? And we're 50 degrees north and 125 degrees west and 154 feet plus or minus 143 feet. Time is 22:57 Greenwich. It's kind of interesting. Okay, now to go to Robbie's. Bearing is 161. We're tracking 190. Distance is 2,076 nautical miles. We're doing 20.0 knots. And it has no estimated time because it's too long.
One of these chairs, yeah. Put it down.
And Robbie's house is 43.16970 north, 075, 27.370 west. Coast Guard helicopter here.
For all those passengers holding rate number 1, rate number 2, color baggage tags, and the
This is Vancouver.
passengers holding rate number 3, color baggage tags.
Number 28.
Crown Princess via the
Beautiful morning.
midship gangway located on promenade deck number 7. Thank you.
This, of course, is from the deck. We've had breakfast and they're now disembarking, but in order. We're waiting our turn, so thought I would give a quick shot here around the skyline. There's their Space Needle. Well, this is the other side of the harbor. Not very far up, but it's over by a park. Anyway, it's getting lower and lower tide. We always seem to be low tide, but there is our ship right there on the other side of the pier. As you can see, it's kind of tall. And anyway, we're on a tour. Always tours. The Coastal First Nation is like our Native American, our Indians, only for Canada. And these are totem poles. Were not the original ones, but ones carved by them anyway. This is the Lionsgate Bridge, connects the mainland with Vancouver Island, which goes north for many miles. It's not just a little island. I'm not sure what all this is over here. It's a bright yellow, very bright. It's almost like sulfur over there. But it's probably, could be sawdust. Don't know, maybe I'll ask the guide.
Vancouver, and even though the city doesn't get very much snow, the North Shore does get quite a lot.
We remember seeing that when we went by it.
4,000 feet elevation up at the top there. You'll get about a meter
Ski area
of snow every single year, so great for local skiing. Nice alternative for people who don't want to drive all the way up to Whistler or Blackmore. And
No, Paseo Extremadura, tú sabes, el Paseo Extremadura la calle, o sea, la carretera Extremadura.
This is that ski area we're talking about. We've driven by it on the way up to Whistler Blackcomb.
Claro, el que es calle, que cruza la pantalla. Que termina en Virgen del Puerto, en el campo del Puerto.
This is the most expensive housing land in, they say, in the country. I assume they mean Canada. They go from 750,000. There's the plane you see in the brochure. It's a twin engine something.
And Falls Creek gets its name, again, not very originally, but a British captain by the name of James Richards actually thought this was the Fraser River, which would take him into the interior of British Columbia. So he had two vessels here, and he's...
Mike Robertson, right here on this stage. Sunny Granville Island, how you doing? Oh, the energy, I feel the energy. Sound like 1,000 people! That sounded like 20.
Replace all the windows.
This is the conservatory. Waddell Conservatory. This is outside of it. It's kind of pretty up here. Reminds me of some of those castles in Germany, I guess. It was Germany, probably? The most.
Wow.
You didn't bring that up.
Well, I don't think so, but it might say somewhere in the hotel. But actually, this is anyone has an extra, I have some.
Anybody got an extra 35 millimeter film?
And we'll just give that to them.
Sorry.
You know,
We used to have goldfish like this in our pond in Pennsylvania.
That one on the outside. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, wow. The tail.
You are very pretty. Pretty bird, pretty bird. What's your name?
Look at the blue one up there.
Yeah. Which, what?
Rattlesnake.
Charlie, salmon crusted cockatoo.
Oh, look at the orchids.
Wow. That's what the different one. That's the one like that. The blue one.
Just don't fall.
Just took the phone. Sit down at
Yeah.
You should roll it.
Yeah, you could roll it.
In 1986 for the World's Fair. That's where Science World is, and as well as the largest CNIMAX theater in Canada. It's really quite neat. It's a huge, basically panoramic screen that's, meters and meters long and wide, and they play educational movies. Again, I've been to Science World numerous times for field trips when I was in elementary school and stuff like that. Now the tent's down on the right-hand side. This is where the Cirque du Soleil. It's, again, if you're looking for tickets, totally sold out. And too bad, I was really looking forward to going to see that. But again, as I do in a lot of things in life, I saved it to the last minute. And unfortunately, I was out of luck. And this building on our right-hand side as well is BC Place Stadium. This is actually where they're going to host Indy was in Vancouver. Tracy, Canadian there. They replaced the bridge deck. at a cost of $125 million. So all of the bridge deck that we're driving on right now is brand new. There are little private islands out there, a couple of private islands. Beautiful materials you have to bring in by boat, and a lot of times those houses don't have driveways, so it's boat access only. You also may have seen the rail line down there. That's and I'm going to point out another one. That was called Alberta Creek.
This is Shannon Falls. We're on our way to Whistler and Blackcomb above Vancouver. Goes right up, it comes off the top of the cliff there. Zoom in a little. And we'll walk up and see if we can get another shot. Another shot of this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, you have to guess where we are. Blackcomb Gondola. Sounds familiar. We skied all this in the old days, or a couple of years ago. I expect I can't see it, but the glacier that we skied on is up there. Probably can't see it from down here. Okay, this is looking at Whistler.
This is Whistler Mountain Bike Park right there.
And that's the Whistler Mountain Bike Park right here.
Zoom in on.
Yeah. Okay, I'll zoom in on the sign. So he says to zoom in on the sign. There it goes, Whistler Mountain Bike Park right there. And the ski runs are all back in here. It's a little hard to see. Okay, these are the ski runs at Whistler that you can see. We'll just stop here a second. This is another view of Blackcomb with the glacier. You can see it a little bit now. Glacier's up in here when they ski on. They ski all the way up to the peak. Things are getting kind of puny, it looks like. I think that's the right place. And this is part of the village. Now, Village Square, the back side of it. I'll give you another shot, the front side. This is some more of the Village Square.
Yeah, right. You're just sweating like a pig.
You guys rode the park with you last. That's what I
seaplane ride at Whistler.
So this is the North Vancouver Outdoor School, and it is, I'm going to have to charge you extra if you're going to videotape me.
Okay, look pretty good.
pay him and
This is
give
the
it to
North
you.
Vancouver Outdoor School, and it's part of the North Vancouver School District. And it's an opportunity for children that go to school in North Vancouver to be able to come and learn about the outdoors firsthand. And that I showed you, Daisy Lake Dam, well, it actually feeds the Cheakamus River, and the Cheakamus River flows about a half a kilometer out behind us here, out to the east. And there's a large dike that's the property from the Cheakamus River.
Es que por allá no te puedo.
No.
Wherever. That's about it. That's it.
That's it.
Before we were at a school in the rainforest, or the old growth forest. This is the face of a cliff, and sometime they're mountaineering people scaling it, not holding it very steady. What you saw before that was a flight over Whistler and the glacier up there. And it really goes back. Whistler is just a small glacier. But it's hard to talk in the airplane.